Hey guys, Rail the Appreciator here. Welcome back to another video. Today we'll be doing a song appreciation on Amoeba from Clairo's 2021 album Sling. Clairo's 2021 album Sling is a record drenched in nostalgia, self-exploration, and quiet introspection. This album is a stark departure from her previous glossy indie pop album Immunity. Sling is Clairo at her most vulnerable as she embraces folk, jazz, and 70s singer-songwriter influence to craft a deeply personal and introspective album. One of the standout tracks from this album is Amoeba, as it is deceptively groovy. It feels like an easygoing, almost playful tune, but beneath its laid-back instrumentation lies a sharp critique of self-neglect, emotional distance, and the alienation that comes with a lifestyle of constant movement and distraction. The title, Amoeba, is our first clue into the song's meaning. Amoebas are single-celled organisms that are shapeless, constantly changing, drifting without a defined structure. In the song, this metaphor suggests a sense of detachment, fluid identity, and the feeling of being lost in an overwhelming world. Clairo's Amoeba is a deeply introspective song that examines themes of dissociation, self-neglect, and the cyclical nature of emotional avoidance. The lyrics paint a vivid picture of someone drifting through life, detached, lost in distractions, and struggling with the weight of unaddressed emotions. Despite its upbeat groove, the song carries a somber self-awareness, highlighting the tension between wanting to change and being stuck in unhealthy patterns. If we look at the first verse, for the search of meaning and the avoidance of responsibility, in the lyrics, between the gaps, I will swim in laps, got close to some epiphany. These opening lines immediately set the tone of the song, as Clairo describes herself swimming between the gaps, a metaphor for aimlessly navigating through life without solid ground beneath her. The act of swimming laps suggests repetitive motion, going back and forth but never truly progressing. The phrase, got close to some epiphany, suggests that she almost reaches a moment of clarity, an understanding about herself or her situation, but it remains just out of reach. This foreshadows the recurring theme of near self-awareness, but ultimate avoidance throughout the song. I'll convince a friend to join deep ends, have your toes touch the lack of cement. Here Clairo introduces another person, possibly a friend or someone she influences. The deep ends could represent risky or unhealthy behaviors, perhaps emotional detachment, escapism, or even substance use. The imagery of toes touching the lack of cement reinforces the idea of instability and being ungrounded, encouraging others to experience the same disconnection that she feels herself. If we look at the pre-chorus with the echo chamber and harsh self-realization in the lyrics, we'll gather to our corner of the woods, echo chambers inside of a neighborhood. This part introduces the idea of echo chambers, which are environments where people only hear opinions that reinforce their own beliefs, avoiding true self-reflection or growth. The corner of the woods suggests a secluded space where like-minded individuals congregate, perhaps a metaphor for social circles that enable each other's bad habits and avoidance behaviors. In centerfold, humility shown, you're not as good as what your mama has sown. A centerfold refers to something prominently displayed, often in magazines. Here it could symbolize a curated self-image or reputation. However, Clairo juxtaposes this with humility shown, hinting at a realization that her outward appearance or projected identity does not align with who she truly is. The phrase, "you're not as good as what your mama has sown," is a sharp critique of self-worth. It suggests that despite how she presented herself, she feels inadequate compared to the ideals or expectations instilled in her, possibly by family upbringing or societal standards. If we look at the chorus with the harsh reality of self-neglect in the lyrics, aren't you glad that you reside in a hell and in disguise? Nobody yet everything, a pool to shed your memory. This is one of the most powerful and existentially charged lines in the song. Residing in a hell and in disguise describes living in an emotional or mental state of suffering, while simultaneously masking it. This could be a reference to Clairo's experience with fame, or a broader feeling of pretending to be fine while struggling internally. Nobody yet everything suggests a paradox, feeling insignificant and unseen, yet burdened with the weight of everything around her. This could reflect the feelings of being consumed by expectations, obligations, or even just the weight of one's own mind. Pool to shed your memory might refer to escapism, perhaps through partying, drinking, or distractions where she can temporarily forget her problems. Could you say you've even tried, you haven't called your family twice? This is one of the most direct and self-critical lines in the song, as Clairo calls out her own neglect, particularly towards her own family. The repetition of twice emphasizes how little effort she's put into maintaining real connections, despite knowing that she really should. This line reflects the common struggle of becoming so absorbed in one's own life and distractions that the relationships fall by the wayside. I can hope tonight goes differently, but I show up to the party just to leave. This final line in the chorus speaks to the cycle of avoidance. There's a flicker of hope for change, yet a resignation of the same behavior, going through the motions of social interaction but remaining emotionally disengaged. If we look at the second verse and the illusion of nostalgia and avoidance of reflection in the lyrics, between the gaps, keep it under wraps, how I got to some epiphany. Clairo repeats the imagery of between the gaps, but adds keep it under wraps, suggesting secrecy or avoidance of deeper emotions. Even when she comes close to self-realization, she suppresses it. Convince myself, when it turns to 12, the photos keep the sentiment. This could reference midnight as a turning point, where she tells herself things will change, but they never do. Line, the photos keep the sentiment, suggests that nostalgia or curated memories, such as photos, create the illusion of meaningful experiences, even when they lack true depth or meaningful connection. If we look at the bridge, where she faces the passage of time and her own fear of permanence, in the lyrics, pulling back, I tried to find the point of wasting precious time. This is a pivotal moment in the song, as she makes a brief attempt to reflect on time lost to distractions and avoidance. However, the use of tried to find suggests that she hasn't fully grasped it yet. I sip and toast to normalcy, a fool's way into jealousy. Here Claire acknowledges that she celebrates superficial things to feel normal, but deep down it's an empty experience. A fool's way into jealousy suggests that by pretending to be content, she ultimately envies those who have genuine happiness. Mock and imitate goodbyes when I know that I can't deny. This line could mean that she goes through motions of endings, whether in relationships, friendships, or emotional situations, without truly processing them. It reflects emotional detachment and the struggle of fully acknowledging loss or change. I'll be here forever while I show up to the party just to leave. This final line cements the feeling of stagnation, being trapped in the same behaviors indefinitely. Forever while is a paradoxical phrase, as it implies that while she feels stuck in these patterns, she also acknowledges their fleeting nature. The repeated phrase, I show up to the party just to leave, ties the song's themes together, being present physically, absent emotionally, engaging in life's routines while remaining disconnected. If we look at the themes in terms of dissociation and avoidance, the song portrays a cycle of near awarenessness and suppression, where Clairo recognizes her patterns, but ultimately she continues them. Loneliness and neglect. Despite being surrounded by people, she feels detached, neglecting personal relationships, including even her own family. Superficiality versus authenticity. There's a tension between presenting a curated life and acknowledging your own inner struggles. The desire for change versus the pull of habit. A repeating theme in the lyrics is hoping for change, but ultimately falling back into one's old behaviors. Amoeba is a beautifully layered exploration of self-awareness and avoidance, making it one of Clairo's most introspective and emotionally raw songs. Thanks for watching this appreciation on Clairo's track Amoeba off her 2021 album Sling. If you like what you saw, please like, subscribe, and comment other artists, albums, and genres that you'd like me to make other videos about. Thanks for watching. See ya!